Joined by Sean. How are you doing, Sean?
Really good, thank you, Porky. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. How you been?
Really good. Had a good weekend. A little bit of work, a lot of training, and just nice. Spent some time with my daughter, so a real nice one. Yeah.
Did you watch any boxing?
I watched lots of boxing, some good, some indifferent. Yeah, watched a card on Friday, and then juggled two cards on Saturday watching them. So yeah, two in the UK, one in Dubai.
What did you think to Crusher at ringside with Eddie Hills after Haney fight?
Oh, it was all engineered. When he walked in like he just unified three divisions. Yeah, it was. It was. He's certainly got cheek, hasn't he? But yeah, we knew he was going to be there.
Aye.
Itching. We knew. I knew he was going to be there, itching for some exposure. What now? Once he'd beaten this shell of a 36-year-old weight drain. So yeah, no, he was there, wasn't he? And he's all his splendor, nauseating.
What do you think to the post put out by the WBC, Sean, regarding the convention next weekend, isn't it? What do you think to that? Right.
Predictable.
It what?
Predictable. In terms of you never know, you always know the Sullivans. The Sullivans are going to be the Sullivans from the dad to the son and everyone else involved in it. Um, so yeah, I think you sent me, didn't you? Just yeah, them conventions that just show why it's not a democratic method of aligning who's going to be winning, is it? It's just
No.
yeah,
Well, what happens is you see at these conventions, promoters go to them, they lobby for their guys to be bumped up the rankings and for eliminators and final eliminators, and it's where everybody gets looked after, if you know what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah. It's like major. It's like companies going to them Downing Street dinners and lobbying for work with them. It's just a different version of that, isn't it? It's the same corruption.
Well, what happens is I've actually been in on a couple of these meetings, and I'm told to
Ah,
sit quiet. But
I
what
bet you
happens
were.
is when they say, "Oh, we can't do that," well, what they do, they tend to leave number one and number two not rated. Because they would get your guy up to number three, but not up to one, and they tend to leave the top two positions.
That
And
make that makes sense why I often see it as they're not rated when you
yeah, well,
see them
that's
in
why they
boxing.
do it, innit? Because they say,
Yeah,
well,
I
we
had no
can't just
idea.
slip him in at number two or number one. You can't do that, and you can't have a mandatory straight away. You've got to have a final eliminator. So what they do, they leave that number one and number two. They
To give
leave
them that
them blank,
wiggle.
yeah. So then they go down the line to get the next guy. So they still get the shot, but they say, well, we can't. Number one and number two are not rated. Oh,
Yeah,
we'll go to number three's got a fight lined up. Number four is injured, and your guy Fred Bloggs. Oh, but
yeah,
he's number five. He's next in line. That's how it works. And I was like, what?
yeah. I just assumed they couldn't make their mind up or there was a vacancy in those things, but it makes sense because you see it all too often across all four belts. Not the nicest tonic water, Porky.
Yeah. So, what did you think to Haney's performance?
Up to the up to the end of the second round, I thought, blimey, he's stepped up and he's going to destroy him because he put him down. It looked like a really good punch. I thought he's going to step on it and do him now, but then he stepped off and he coasted. So, and don't get me wrong, that Norman Jr. is a hell of a puncher, and he was the
Yeah.
champ. So, no one needs to be reckless, and he's definitely not reckless, Haney. But I wanted him to not hurt the guy, but I wanted him to. Cause you always suspect with Haney that he's got it within him, but he just boxes within all of his massive abilities. So a little bit of it got a bit boring for the co-main or chief support. So yeah, much preferred the couple of fights before personally. Although there's no one can argue that Haney's not a phenomenal boxer. It's just a bit boring.
Do you think that Eddie made a big issue out of his performance to dance to Turkey's tune because Turkey were having a bit of a moan and tutting all the way through the fight and looked a bit disinterested and there were a few boos and that. Do you think Eddie had to be seen to be doing that to get his fighter in line and should he kept that in house?
Yeah, he was like acting up to impress the big boy at school. He was doing that. He was clearly basically articulating with Turkey as the audience as opposed to anyone else as well. Because like you said, if the shoe had been on his other foot and it had been one of Connor's 154 forgettable fights when he was fighting in America, he didn't say anything then when it was a ball fest, did he?
Well, I thought when Crusher Ben fought them two fights at 154 in America, I thought he stunk the joint out, but nobody said anything then, did they?
No, because it didn't suit Eddie's narrative then. Oh well, he's going through a lot, blah blah. But no, Haney won very convincingly. Showed he's got power at the weight, but
Mm.
it wasn't the best watch.
Could you see him and Crusher getting it on? Or is Crusher just there to make a bit of noise in Saudi and bask in the
Well,
glory of beating a guy nearly 37 who were weight drained?
I'm coming back to what you were saying about how is he going to get to 147 and what version of will there be? Because you got to remember, like I said, we always know he only ever fought the names that he fought, the Van Heerdens and stuff were past it, no disrespect to them. So yeah, if he steps in the ring with Devin Haney, I suspect Devin Haney will just laugh, he'd just pick him off. He'd just
Mm.
dance around him. So unless he's going to go in there for a massive amount of money, but Ben's Ben's their golden egg, isn't he? Obviously, we know there's no yoke inside, but he's their golden egg, so I presume they're not going to put him anywhere near him. But maybe money talks. Yeah, but I
Mm.
think it was probably more exposure for Ben rather than a real fight that's going to get made.
Could you see Crusher coming down from 160 to 147 and actually maintaining himself at the weight? And if you can, do you think before he fights for a big fight that he should really have a run out at 147 against somebody like Echo Kuzman just to see if he's okay at the weight? Or do you think that wouldn't be a big enough money fight for his big ego?
I think the latter wouldn't be a big enough money fight, as well as we've got to remember, even when he was naturally or easily at 140, I don't think he was ever naturally at any weight, but when he was 147, he avoided the domestic ranks like the plague, didn't he? Never fought an area, never fought an English, never fought Britain. So even a 36-year-old Esserman freely vacated of his previously European title holder. Very dangerous fight for Ben. Although he does fight like fighting 36-year-olds, doesn't he? So who knows? Yeah, that would
Well,
be
Ben
much more
said
sensible.
we're saying he's now an eight-figure fighter. I'm assuming that's 10 million, minimum of 10 million.
And
And that he's more or less saying, this is what I want every fight now, eight figures. So he's got to live up to the hype and he's got to be seen to be out there, pushing himself out there. But this is a man that's not won an area belt, a Southern area, not an English, not a Commonwealth, not a British, not a European, and he's not won a world title. So what's the difference between him and Anthony Joshua? Well, Joshua's won a British and he's a two-time world champion, isn't he?
yeah,
But he's not. Joshua's not had a title win since 2020, and we're going into 26 now, aren't we? And Crusher's been at it over 10 years now, hasn't he? He's 29. They keep saying he's 28. Crusher's 29. He was 29 in September, so he's not a next gen now, is he? So is he just bothered about talking about winning a WBC, but really it's about filling his boots?
I think it's about filling his boots. Obviously, his most recent opponent, Lee Eubank, was honest about it. He was there for the money, whereas Ben's still making out he wants to win the belt that his dad had, albeit at a lower weight. So, um, and whether he wants the belt or not, I don't think he's got the ability to win it as well. They're now even talking about he's going to fight the winner of Garcia and the opponent again. So probably got more chance someone like Garcia because he's so chaotic. But if he comes in camp and with right prep, it'd absolutely destroy him. So yeah, I think they'll just put him in money fights against names or misfits.
Yeah. Do you think it were in bad taste, Ben working himself up at that show last night, strutting
So
about like a peacock?
of course it was, and like I said, can't not really surprised. He refused to admit that was it Paynoud beat him and never and always swerved that one. He's refused to apologise for failing two drugs tests, refused to release a dossier, which is in his gift to do so. So it doesn't surprise me he's going to go across to Dubai and act like a tit when it's someone else's night. Not at all.
Mm.
Yeah.
Joe Gallagher came out in a couple of interviews. He said it's bad for the next generation of kids coming through that somebody can be seen to be testing dirty twice and go on to earn millions.
Yeah.
It's a bad look for the sport. What do you think about Joe's comments on that?
As ever with Joe Gallagher. honest and
Did you
spot
see
on.
it?
Yeah, I did. I did. It was about 15 minutes. It was with like young lady from Boxing Now. I quite like her.
Yeah.
She's got a good, nice style about her as well for a young lass. But yeah, no, I thought it was a really nice interview. He was very honest.
Mm.
But again, I think he's probably one of the few people that Turkey he can say stuff like that, and Turkey will actually respect him, obviously, because Turkey had him on his card. So I think someone like Turkey would probably respect someone like Joe Gallagher. He definitely don't respect people like Eddie Hearn. They're just vehicles for him to be used, aren't they? So yeah, I thought again, Joe, does he shoot from one perspective? You think, right, shoot himself in the foot by being honest. Good on him. And knowing what he's been through in his personal life, he don't care about speaking the truth, does he? He's had a battle bigger than getting his nose getting the promoter's nose put out of joint. So good on him. No, it was good. Good. It was really good to hear. Good to see as well.
No love lost between Joe and Eddie Hills, is there?
No, they're different people. My friend set up a boxing gym, and obviously Joe Gallagher's gym does education and training provision. I lost all the thing. He answered the phone when he rang the gym up and gave him half an hour of his time. This was 4 years ago, while he's probably training world champions. Different beast, and a person with morals and principles. Joe Gallagher.
Yeah. Well, we all know that Eddie tried to torpedo his stable, didn't he? Telling people, look, you're not going to get on any of my slots while you're being trained by Joe G. And the Smiths all got the knife out and went, didn't they?
Yeah, they
Ladies and
did.
gentlemen, the Smiths, the beatles of
Yeah,
boxing.
yes, they did. They did. But Joe's still standing. They've all either retired or one fighter left, and he's still being honest and still got a circle of people who are loyal to him. So good luck to Joe. He deserves every prosperity and success.
Well, he's got Maurice Cole there running gym with him there. There's a few other chaps around there, Marcus Morrison and them, Quig. You
I
know, they're
remember
all they're
Marcus
all
Morris. I've seen him in the corner a few times. Yeah,
Quiggy.
yeah. Yeah, it was Marcus Morrison because I always wondered
Yeah.
what he'd do after he retired. 'Cause he was the away fighter a few times, so I saw him pop up. He still looks healthy, so he's clearly in the gym and helping people train, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a nice kid, Marcus. I like him. Okay, well, Joe runs Turkey's gym, doesn't he, in
He
Riyadh,
does.
doesn't he? Turkey's gym. It's massive, that. And it's
Yeah,
Turkey's right-hand man over there. So Joe's going to say
good.
what he wants, isn't he?
Yeah, and Turkey's going to learn from him as well. I know he's clearly into his boxing. He's going to learn from him, but like I say, he's not going to learn anything from Eddie other than the dark arts. And I think he's learned that already. So they'll get pushed out when he's ready, won't he?
Hmm. Uh, Now that all the dust's settled, what do you... And Nigel Benn is saying he's going back to Australia and Connor's in good hands. Do we believe that? Because I've already heard today that he's going to be going to that convention
What,
in
Nigel?
In Thailand next week. So
Yeah.
I don't know what is that on way home to Australia?
I don't know. I think he quite likes being a part of the limelight. I know he's not been as overt and controlling careers as some of the dads are, but don't know how much money he's got, and no idea what financial state he's in. But I think he likes being a part of it a bit because obviously the fight got made because of the dads, not because of their own legacy. So I suspect we'll see more of him. And he probably not quite as bad as Tony Bellew said it when he said he wanted to get home to his wife and kids and then went on every TV show made for the next 3 years. But I suspect we'll see a little bit more of Nigel Benn. I suspect he gets paid for it, doesn't he?
Yeah, this with Crusher Ben though at the moment. It's a bit like when Bellew beat David A, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? When he
Yeah,
were working himself up as this big noise at every show, but looking at that
yeah,
statement from WBC, have they forgot that Crusher lost the first one against you?
absolutely. It's very short-term memories. Short-term memory loss when it suits in the WBC. Don't know if Sullivan had a bump to the head or something else, but yeah, not surprising now in the WBC.
Okay. Uh, Joe Parker.
Joe Sniff Parker.
He's
Yeah.
saying that he don't know how it got in his system. How does coke get in your system, Sean?
Well, the same way it's got into my system when I used it when I was younger. Through a £20 note, like everyone else.
Pop, pop, bang.
Yeah, just be like say, just be honest. Obviously, he's not going to fess up, but just be honest. He's not like he's killed a kid. He's used something that it's not a ped, but he's going to take a little backdated ban. So just be honest and love a little bit of honesty because he's always seemed like he's always been honest Joe, honest Joe. But like I say, there's more in that man's past than we see, and I'll stop banging on about Google X, Y, and Z. But yeah, how he got in his system, it's not from handling money, isn't it? They'll claim he's handled diluted 20s. Come on, we all know how it gets up your
Liam
nose.
Cameron
But
tried that one with Dennis. It did. Dennis went, "Fuck off."
yeah, 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 yeah,
I'm just wondering if Joe should, if the sentencing guidelines or the punishment for it all is the same across the board. Liam got a warning for the Sam Sheedy fight, but then tested again it next month at
yeah.
Gentleman. So Joe could quite easily just get a warning, couldn't he? Really? But
Yeah,
would
if
it
they're gonna,
matter if you're fighting on somebody else's license in another country anyway? Because there's ways around it for these top guys that are earning millions, isn't there?
yeah, there is. There is. I know he's sort of adopted by the UK, but he's not a UK fighter. So I expect there's
Oh,
commissions in countries where he can fight. So it can probably be a minimal headache if they do. Like you said about everyone forgets that about Liam Cameron, that big injustice. Like you said, he popped twice and actually got a warning the first time. So if you're that thick to then felled another one, you deserve a 4-year ban.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But when you've got Spencer Oliver, aka Juggiers, when you've got Juggiers going on about you got Ahmed and this and that, been done twice,
Abs-
twice. And if I'm lying, sue me. I've done
Absolutely.
twice.
Yeah, it's been a week of drug tests with Mateus. Mateus
Yeah,
failing away again. That man killed someone in the ring as well, so that makes you
yeah.
question some of what he's been doing. But anyway, I'm segueing and digressing again, like I often do.
What do you think about that? Do you think him and Dalton Smith fight is going to happen now, or is Dalton going to fight for a vacant?
I think they're lobbying for him still to fight for a vacant. And if he was in line, like I say, if Mateus was Mateus the champ or was it a vacant?
I think he were champ. I'm not sure on that, but I
Yeah.
think he's a
Well, if he's
champion, isn't
failed
he?
the test, he's not going to be fighting for any time soon, whether it's appeal or suspension. So should free him up and let him fight. But like I say, it's not Dalton's fault if that guy's been back blasting Austrian or whatever it was. But like I say, it does cast a dark corner over the gentleman who lost his life against him as well. I'm not alleging he was using then, but it does make one ponder, probably the victim's family as well. So yeah, but no, I think he should. Yeah, I think he's fought enough people. I think he deserves the title fight. Yeah,
Okay. Uh, Sam Noakes. Thought he was a good fight, did you?
for me, best fight, best fight of the night. That was absolutely that.
Two undefeated kids going at it.
Yeah, and Mason does not fight like someone who's 21. Fair play to him. And it wasn't It wasn't like a beatdown. Like he won by a good few rounds. But that Noakes, I think his brother's a pro as well. He's so tough. Absolutely, I was genuinely so impressed. Particularly when he's obviously they both have, but he's travelled that way for the fight as well. So out your comfort zone. But no, I'd watch it again, and he'll definitely get opportunities because Turkey was sat ringside. So I think your stock can rise in defeat. And I know it's a cliche, but he's definitely has absolute so tough. The masterclass for me was obviously Bam, but Noakes just yeah, really good. Well done him. Every credit to him. So I've not really seen him much before, so I didn't
Mm,
really know what to expect. I'll always back the Brit within reason, unless we're an absolute gobshite. But yeah, I thought he came across really well and fought his heart out.
mm. Anthony Yarde against Benavides. Obviously, I had Anthony Yarde in my accumulator just to try and spice it up a little bit.
So did I.
I got greedy, didn't I?
I did.
We've got to try and make your bets a little bit interesting, aren't you? Because sometimes the unexpected does happen and you get
Yeah,
lucky. Obviously, it backfired on me and I lost heavily. But what do you make of Yard's performance? He's obviously a tough kid, isn't he?
he is. I think he's usually even against obviously the two previous world title fights he'd had. He's very good for the first 6 rounds. He'll normally hurt the opponent at least once. Whether he has the skills, or I can't say experience because he's been a pro 10 years, to capitalize on it, I don't know. But I think in Benavides, although obviously he's stepping up, um, he's obviously not always been a that heavyweight. He was very big. He looked like he'd hydrated very well and immediately announced he's going to cruiserweight. So Benavides was just too good. Yard. very graciously giving an interview to PC Gully a few hours after the fight and was saying he was only ever really hurt when he was when the guy hit him when he was already down. But I think that's just being that's it. That's you being a boxer and being a warrior, isn't it? But I think he got hurt quite a few times there, and I think it was a very humane stoppage as well. Yard's been talking about it was his first fight since James Cook passed, because obviously he became a part of his corner for a few fights. So, and they're looking that they might add someone to the mix. But I'll say this thing because Tunde's not my cup of tea, but he don't chuck his trainer under the bus, does he? Even when everyone was telling him to as well. And I quite respect that as well because Yard seems a really likable guy. So yeah, rightly or wrongly, the fact he's staying with his trainer, fair props to him.
Yeah, but if it is his trainer, why are they bringing other heads on to help? Does that mean that his trainer's not the real deal
It
kind of thing? Because some
it
trainers
does.
would
You
take
can
that
be
as a bit of an insult, wouldn't they, really? McCracken didn't like it when Joshua brought Joby Clayton and Angel Hernandez on, did he? McCracken were
yeah.
like, what's going on here?
It doesn't normally work, does it? Fury had the same thing in his corner when he had about three people in it. So yeah, and I'm just saying as a person, you can tell he's a very loyal person, but perhaps too loyal as well. And perhaps he does need a change because Tunde's not got a massive training background. I know he had a few fights as a pro, but he's not there's probably more things he could do and learn with. Although at 34, how many new tricks can you learn?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. On the whole, what next for Yarde and Benavides? Where do you see Yarde going now? I mean, is he going to have to drop back to domestic level? You know, your Callum Smiths, Boatzis, Willie Hutchinsons, them sort of guys.
But what's he
And Benavides, where does he go now? Is he going to get Bivol or Better Beeve, or are they going to swerve him?
I heard Benavides say he's immediately stepping up to cruiserweight. And is it Gildo Ramirez? He's got one of the WBC cruise. Oh no, he's
Yeah.
got one of the cruiserweight titles. He said he's going to have that fight. So again, clearly he used to weigh. He used to be. He mentioned he was 260 as a teenager. So I had no idea if he was just fat or he got a big old frame like React. But he says he's stepping up to cruiserweight. As for Yard, the fact that Boatsi was there, the fact that Boatsi was talking about they should have fight, and the fact that Yard mentioned that they should have fought twice, but then he ran off and taught Smith, for me, means that Boatsi v Yard is going to belatedly get made because they've not got too many other people to fight, have they? And it'll probably be the most money for them as well.
Well, Boatsi and Smith and Yard don't win a world title while ever there's Benavides, Bivol, and Beterbiev hanging about. Smith, I think, Callum Smith, he's very calculating. He'll wait it out like he did at super middleweight. He waited it out years, and eventually it was Callum Sauerland that delivered a title for him, wasn't it, in that
It was.
tournament? So I think Smith will wait it out for Beterbiev and Bivol, and then belts to be broken up because I think that's the only chance Smith's got of being a world champion. Because let's have it right, Smith poxed the Ring Magazine belt, didn't he got so
Absolutely.
poxy to get that, and he's so lucky. But
But did he take
I
it off
did,
Groves or what when Groves had one arm?
yeah, he did. Well, Joe Gallagher forced that fight. Said, no, no,
Yeah.
no, we want that fight. It's got to be now or never. Groves wanted another couple of months off. And Groves had him going at some point in that fight. But so I see Smith waiting out because Smith were offered Benavides, but
Was
all of a
he?
sudden he wanted 5 million. Now you don't go from 1 million to 5 million. So that means he didn't want the fight at all, did he really, against Benavides? Because to be honest with you, from what I've seen last night, I think Benavides he'd put Smith on button more money,
Absolutely.
light him
Absolutely.
up.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. So not a bad tactic from Smith to wait it out, but he's not getting any younger, is he? What is he, 33,
Yeah, but
34?
who's Smith to say Smith's got all these millions in bank? Who's his best free wins? Give me Smith's best free wins.
Um, my memory's
One
crap.
arm
So
Groves,
knackered Groves, Boatsi, whose career's not
Boatsi,
gone
who's never
down.
been a world champion,
Yeah, his best win
and
was in the
Robbie Field,
Olympics.
future regular champion down the line. That's it. Callum Smith, the end.
I didn't.
The Beatles of
That's it.
boxing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
That's
No,
it.
yeah, yeah. So,
Okay, while we're on the Smiths, people give me loads of stick for being critical, but because they've got plenty to say, the Smiths, aren't they, on Talksport and Sky and DAZN. Who's Liam Smith's best 3 wins?
I can't even remember who he
You
won his
can't even
WBO
tell me,
title.
can you?
No, I can't remember who he won his WBO title against.
Were it
I
John
honestly,
Thompson? Were it John
I
Thompson?
honestly,
Can't
I
remember
honestly
myself.
don't know. I honestly don't know.
That's it. Liam Smith. We don't
Yeah,
know who your best 3 wins are. The end.
I know his. Yeah, I know his best fight. The best name he ever fought was Canelo, but that didn't end very well, did it?
All right, then let's move on to other two. Swifty Smith. Who's his best 3 wins? He hasn't beat a former, current, or future world champion, has he? And as for Smigger's titties, what's he famous for? Losing to De Gale, Groves, Zuger,
Ward.
Arthur Abraham twice, and Ward. That's it. Who's his best
Didn't he
win?
lose to
Tony
Stu?
Warrior Dodson.
But didn't he
That's
still cry
it.
about the fact that yeah, yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Smiths, the Beatles of boxing. They beat no one. Pop, pop, bang. That's it. So I don't
Absolutely.
want to hear Simon Jordan going on Talksport, going on about the legendary Smiths. Ladies and gentlemen, the Smiths. It's a load of bullshit that they're feeding
Absolutely.
us. It's like Arnie
Absolutely.
Slot, Liverpool manager. That was Klopp's team last year. This year,
And the
it's
wheel.
your team. We've done 460 million. Collect your cards, son. Take the train, get gone.
Absolutely.
That's just how I feel. I lose my shit over Liverpool at the moment. Do you want to go on to part two, Sean?
See you in two.
See you on part
Love
two
it.
in 1 minute. I must have a piss. All right.
Bye.
Thanks for
Okay.
liking and
Bye.
subscribing and leaving a comment. We're joined by Sean from Lincolnshire, ex-strongman, trains bodybuilders and all that. So it's nice to see somebody doing something in community, innit? So, okie dokie. Smigger's titties. I know you're watching. It's just facts, innit? You beat fucking nobody, you and your brothers. Fucking on Talksport as some expert. Be a fucking favour, man. Pop, pop, bang!